So here in front of me, I have 3 brand new fragrances from a brand new brand. Just came out. As a matter of fact, all 3 of them are already available at luckyscent.com. And here we have fragrances created by a gentleman by the name of Aton, A-T-O-N, and the brand is called Aton Perfumes. He is actually the brother of Russian Adam, who's a very established figure when it comes to the indie niche world of fragrances. I've actually covered a number of his fragrances on my channel, if I'm not mistaken. And here, his brother decided to venture into his own, brand and starting his own brand, which I think is really impressive. So here we have 3 fragrances: Roxbury, the Bright Lights, and Patchouli Lave. I'm excited to give you my thoughts in this overview of the 3 fragrances, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you this sort of overview of these 3 brand new fragrances, indie/niche fragrances, and I tell you all about them, what my initial thoughts are, what I get from them in terms of the smell, the notes, the performance, I want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Of course, hit that bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or simply if you took something of value from today's episode. So here is Aton. He is the brother of Russian Adam, and they've actually collaborated on a fragrance in the past, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Manly. So here Aton started his own brand, and I'm also going to leave a link to the official website down below. If you're interested in reading like the About Us section, or there's kind of like a small perfumer information or perfumer biography section on there as well, if you're interested in learning more about the perfumer himself. So here you have a really dark, bold, resinous fragrance, Roxbury. You might be able to tell, but this test strip actually got saturated with oil when I sprayed it. So I think that that's indicative of a lot of natural raw materials, and I'm got very excited for this one. And then we also have the Bright Lights, which is a brighter, more effervescent fragrance. And then we have a patchouli based offering. So I'm excited to give you my thoughts on all 3 of these fragrances. But let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation. So to start things off with the smell, I'm just going to casually read over the notes for you because they are conveniently printed on the inside of all of these boxes, which are really nice boxes, by the way. As you can see, it has a very luxurious finish to it, and I also like the artwork on the inside of each box. So for the first one, Roxbury, you're going to get oak moss, amber, I told you resins, vanilla, patchouli 1997, tobacco, blackcurrant, geranium, and labdanum. So my initial impression with this one was that it is very dark, very bold, without being smoky. So this is a very rich amber fragrance, and it's an amber that prioritizes some of the thicker, more medicinal resins as opposed to vanilla, because there are some amber fragrances on the market that can be a little bit on the sweet side of things. That's not what this is. This is very sort of sophisticated, very grounded. There's also like an air of mystery about it, which I really like. And all in all, I think this fragrance is really unique. And I haven't really tried such a bold, dry amber as this one. And I do think that some of the darker notes are really accented by the oak moss and the tobacco. So think oak moss, tobacco, and a dry, resinous amber. This is gonna work wonders in the colder weather. Definitely the type of fragrance I can see myself wearing in the fall and winter time. More so in the winter, I would say, because it is on the heavy side of things. And I did spray my skin. I wouldn't spray my shirt because, it got quite dark. But when I did wear it on skin, it lasted a very, very long time. So I would say 10 plus hours longevity. The projection is very good too. You will definitely get noticed. Very dark, bold, rich amber fragrance is what you're going to get from Roxbury. I personally really, really like Roxbury, and I look forward to wearing that a lot more in the future. So the next one here is called the Bright Lights, and again, beautiful artwork on the inside of the box. And this one has pink pepper, Thai oud, incense, cedarwood, vanilla, pine needles, sandalwood, patchouli, and white musk. So you have some woodsy notes, you have some green notes with the pine needle, you have the pink pepper, which might convey a bit of a rosy touch. And it actually opens up really, really bright in the opening. And that's something that I enjoy about this one. It's refreshing in the opening, and then once you give it about 5-10 minutes, you realize that, oh wait, it's going to go in a darker direction. So it does have a little bit of like this bright effervescent touch in the opening, not a whole lot of citrus from what you can tell from what I read off the note breakdown, but when you really think about it, you really meditate on it, you do get the pine needles. And there is this green occurrence that is happening in the dry down of the fragrance. And I think the pine gives it this sort of contrasting element to the fragrance because it opens up very bright, very luminous, as the name implies, but there's a lot of dark ingredients in here too, you know, which is something that surprised me. The musk is very clean. There's nothing overly animalic about it, nothing animalic about it at all, actually. In terms of the presence of the sandalwood, it's not the strongest note in here as far as what my nose can detect, but it's really this peppery and pine kind of a fragrance. And the pink pepper I definitely get. There is this sort of peppery quality about it. And it kind of reminds me of one of the Clive Christian fragrances that I own. Very expensive. I don't remember if it's Clive Christian X or another Roman numeral, I forget which one, but the one that has a lot of pepper in it. And this one is really, really nice. Again, very classy, edgy, sophisticated. I think the first one is a little bit more for like a mysterious person. This one is more for like a professional businessman, like a CEO type of a personality. And the third and final one is Patchouli Lave. Oh, so this is interesting. I didn't even look at the note breakdown yet. This one is a little bit on the salty side of things, like a little bit on the salty, briny, oceanic side of things. So this one is really interesting. Let me just remind myself what the notes are. So this is Indonesian patchouli, oak moss, cardamom, tonka bean, and champaca. So one thing I can say right away is I don't get a whole lot of sweetness from it. So in terms of the tonka bean, I don't think it has as pronounced of an effect as it does in some other fragrances that I've encountered. The cardamom, I can see that right away. It definitely aided in that sort of bright opening that I got from it. And the patchouli is not a chocolatey patchouli, right? It's kind of like a more dry, aromatic patchouli, but it's very, very nicely done. My initial impression of this one was, is this an aquatic? You know, I got like this kind of oceanic, salty opening from it that I do think increases the versatility significantly. And so I think for the second two that I covered, or the last two rather, they are incredibly versatile. You can wear them all day, all night, any season. It's really only Roxbury that I would wear in the colder weather, thinking fall and winter, but the other two are incredibly versatile. And when I wore this one, when I had that initial thought of, oh, is this like an oceanic fragrance, I must have worn it maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, and this one also gave me really good longevity. So you have 3 fragrances that are composed with very high quality raw materials. Same has been the case with, you know, his brother's olfactory endeavors. And these are 3 distinctly different fragrances from a brand new brand. And I just love the way that these fragrances are pieced together. Now, my favorite, if I had to pick one, I really do like that suave, debonair, sort of sophisticated quality from the Bright Lights. But when I'm looking for something that's a little bit more edgy, a little bit more mysterious, I would definitely go with Roxbury. But we have 3 awesome fragrances, and I'm very happy that I've had the opportunity to cover them on my channel. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, all 3 of these fragrances are unique. The only fragrance that I would compare to something else is the first one, but the fragrance that I would compare it to is actually a bespoke fragrance that I had made by John Pegg of the Kerosene brand. He made me a fragrance many years ago called 4 Dark Corners, and it was a very thick, incensey, resinous fragrance. And aside from that, like, I really can't compare any of these to anything else that I've tried. They're all unique in their own way. Really appreciate how bold of a statement all three of these fragrances make. In terms of the longevity, you can easily get 10 plus hours from all of them, but I think the best performer is definitely going to be Roxbury. So if you're into that, if you're into, you know, incredibly high longevity from fragrances, you're definitely going to get it from Roxbury. The projection for the latter two was actually really good. Projected very loudly for the first 2 hours beyond an arm's length, and then it didn't start to sit closer to the skin until about like hour 6. And so all of these are strongly concentrated, very rich in terms of the oils being used in here. Versatility, I kind of covered that a little bit already. The first one, colder weather. The latter two, anytime you want. I think they're all perfectly unisex, to be honest. Some people might argue that the first two lean a little bit masculine. Patchouli Lave is a little bit more of a unisex creation, I think, but they're all unisex when you think about it. And I think all of them are probably best suited for somebody who has a little bit of experience dealing with indie and niche fragrances. If you're like a designer head and all you know is Gucci and Chanel, these might catch you off guard a little bit, but these are all great. And in terms of the presentation, I really enjoy the presentation. I like the box, I like the silhouette on the inside, the notes, the design. My final verdict on these three fragrances is, if you're looking for three brand new, bold expressions from a brand new house, if you're a fan of notes like patchouli with a touch of like an oceanic personality, or the bright lights with the cardamom and that luminous quality in the opening, or even Roxbury if you're a fan of deep, warm resins, that dry amber, check out these fragrances. I hope you enjoy them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you took something of value from today's overview. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Also hit that bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.